What's up, guys? Rustic here, coming at you for the weekend edition of Raw Stocks. We're going to be taking a look at Tesla. It's going to be kind of a short video. We're just going to look at some different time frames, look at where price came from, where price ended on Friday, and where price could potentially head tomorrow and into the week. Don't forget, we got FOMC rate cut decision coming on Wednesday. It's going to be the big market driver this week. I'm so excited to share with you the different things that I see going on with Tesla. Don't forget to check out the links in the description below. Ways to join the Raw Stocks Trading Discord, either as a free or premium member. Also a way to access Black Box Stocks or Gamma Edge options data services. So let's go ahead and jump into the chart. Right now I got the Tesla 1 month chart pulled up. Okay, and what we want to notice here, we got our two most recent highs forming our resistance downtrend. Right, we have our most recent lows connecting to give us our support trend line. So we're in this kind of wedge triangle-ish pattern, right? We talked about this on the last weekend update that I did, but we have a bullish monthly fair value gap that we've drawn into. Wouldn't be surprised if we draw back into it again before we ultimately make a move up. But that's really what we got going on the monthly chart. You can see until we get a clear breakout of either the resistance or the support and we hold a monthly candle below that, we can't with great certainty say we're going higher or lower beyond those boundaries, right? Until we break out of one of those two. And you'll see that on the other time frames as well. But that's going to be the real bigger move is once we break above that and hold above it on a higher time frame chart. We'll drop down into the weekly chart. On the weekly chart, we do start to see some different order blocks here, right? So we have this is an internal swing bullish order block that you see was painted. We've come back down into it, right? And on this chart, on the weekly chart, it shows us closing the monthly fair value gap on a weekly basis, but it did not close on the monthly basis. So we found that rebound into the end of the month. And it kept that monthly fair value gap open, showing just a wick, a wick down into it on the monthly chart. But on the weekly chart, we got a bunch of different order blocks. And so you see that we had this internal order block, right? And this internal order block. And on that move up, we pushed into both of those order blocks, found our rejection, right? Came back down. Now we've tested this bullish order block, right? And so on the weekly time frame, right now we had a nice bullish close for last week, and we have marked off our previous week high and our previous week low, right? And so inside of that is going to be our weekly range for this week, 213.41 to 235.19, give or take, right? And so we could see an inside week, we could see a break above that. If we break above that and hold above that, then we're likely to head towards some of those order blocks and to that resistance downtrend line. Right? If we break below that 213.41 and hold for the weekly close, then we're looking at pushing down into this weekly fair value gap that we've already wicked into, but we have not closed this weekly fair value gap, and that's 210.28 to 203.89. So looking to see if we do drop down and close below the previous week low, might trade down into that weekly fair value gap. And then again, we got this internal order block here as well. And then beyond that, we have our support trend line, which is much further away than the resistance line. So wouldn't be out of the ordinary to see us. We already did hit that resistance line once there, right? On the weekly time frame. So it wouldn't be out of the ordinary to see us push up. And I'm going to show you why there might be some evidence that we see that either next week or possibly into the final week of the month. Also could delay it all the way until the robo-taxi event. I do want to notice here that between July 15th and July 29th, there is a small fair value gap that has not been closed yet. So we can go ahead and mark that off on our charts as well. We're going to do that in red. And we've hit it with a wick, but we're going to put it in there again. And we're going to mark that as weekly bearish fair value gap. Okay, so we have come in and rejected it, right? And now we're pushing back up to it. So we'll see next week. Do we close it out, right? And then make a push above that previous week high to break out of that range? We'll just have to watch and see what happens. We drop down into the daily chart. The daily chart does also start to show some additional order blocks. We are at resistance of a swing internal order block here. You see we rejected it once, right? We had that massive drop down to, this is a short term, you know, it's on the daily chart, but this is going to be a short term, more aggressive support line compared to this one down here, right? This is our monthly time frame support level. Okay, but on our daily time frame, we have this more aggressive support level, or the support trend, right? And so we came back, we tested it here on August 28th, came back down and tested it again on that massive dump Friday, September 6th, right? And so if we find rejection inside this order block, which goes up to 235, then we would probably come back down and test that, you know, that trend support. If that breaks, we're into the, you know, internal order block here, the bullish order block. And then beyond that, right, we're down into that larger monthly fair value gap, and we have another internal order block down here in the 180s, and then we have a swing order block. All these are bullish order blocks, but a swing order block down here in the 170s. I don't necessarily think we're going to get down there, especially anytime soon, maybe in Q3. But we'll just, you know, knowing those targets is definitely helpful to have, you know, for buy side or in our bullish scenario, right? We break above this order block, the previous week high, right? That's what I'm looking for. I have a couple short-term trades going right now. Especially the midterm or short-term puts that we're in on Tesla. If we break and hold a daily candle close above 235, I will be looking to, you know, potentially trade long up to this 250 to 260, or 252. Yeah, we'll call it 252 to 265 bullish order block up above us, right? And that would then include closing out this weekly fair value gap here as well, right? That we just talked about a couple minutes ago. And then we have a daily fair value gap that comes from, let's see, July 22nd. And that would include this gap here that we have to July 24th. So we're missing one level there. We'll put it in white. Okay, and then we're going to label this as gap. We're going to call it daily minus fair value gap. So we have a daily minus fair value gap, and then just right above that, we have a gap close, right? So we have traded into that gap a couple times, found that rejection in this order block. If we push through it, we're going to the weekly fair value gap. We're looking to close the daily bearish fair value gap, potentially close the gap entirely, and trade up into the order block. Now, you see the green vertical line, the white vertical line. This is something I've been tracking. We'll go ahead and pull this video out a little, or the screenshot out a little bit. And, you know, what I've been tracking is the OPEX, the quarterly OPEX over the course of, you know, basically Tesla's entire move down through 2021, 2022. Right, the end of 2021 to 2022, and then this move here during 23, right, and then this recent move up. So just testing and looking at some different things, seeing if we're trading up, you know, into OPEX, are we likely to sell off? If we're trading down into OPEX, are we likely to, you know, to rebound, you know? And so that's what those lines are. If you're wondering, right now it looks like we're trading up into OPEX, and if we hit this long term, this you know, this resistance here in this order block, you know, into the week, right, or into the close, could definitely look to go short to capitalize on a move back down to some kind of support level or liquidity level. Last thing we'll do is jump into the 1 hour time frame. So on the 1 hour time frame, we saw this breaker block get closed out. You see, you get your short entry here in the breaker, right? And then we came back down, buy side to sell side to buy side of the curve. Okay, we don't have any more indicators right now of breaker blocks that are important, but we do have some order blocks here. And you can see on the 1 hour chart, there is an order block right above 233.50 all the way up to that 235, 236 area. You know, so we certainly could see that move up. This bearish fair value gap on the 1 hour chart got closed out. No real major fair value gaps here that I'm looking at. And so, you know, what I want to notice is that we came up, we left the gap, we didn't fill it. And we popped up, we came down, we tested the 1 hour order block, right? We get another order block, we came down, couldn't quite get down there to test it. And now we're starting to chop around Thursday into Friday, right? Things that are important to notice is that we saw that push up, right? Steal the liquidity that's in this high, we pushed back down, right? We have a lot of liquidity wicks down here. We got sell side, we got order blocks. So we could easily see that push up, right? And then reject. But also the fact that we've delivered up through this previous high here, right? We're inside of this order block. We're failing at this point in time to deliver on this order block, right? That could be a bearish signal that we're going to come back down and try to test this, right? We haven't seen anything aggressive since Thursday at open. And then, you know, into Friday, it was really just consolidation. So, you know, again, it wouldn't surprise me to see this, right? We popped up twice to set highs here, failed to deliver into the high. Right? It wouldn't surprise me to see this roll over, come back down, test the support, or even test this, this support trend, that aggressive one on the daily time frame, come back down, test that, and then see if we want to push up, right? To take these relative equal highs up here in the previous week high. And then decide whether we want to go higher or lower from there. So ultimately, when I entered the shorts, that's what I was kind of looking at, was this 1 hour time frame, see if we could roll over, retest support, right? Retest maybe this order block, or this order block here, or the support trend, and then see if we pop back up, run more and more tests on this order block, see if it holds, maybe go higher to some of the higher time frame targets, or see if we then drop down, break that, and then go lower to the sell side targets. So that's what I got for you guys as far as charts go. Last thing we're going to do is take a look at some of the Gamma Edge data. The link's going to be in the description below. Gamma Edge is a 14-day trial for you to give it a whirl, but I love Gamma Edge even more than Black Box Stocks. Black Box Stocks has flow and it has some alerts and some other things, but their gamma levels are not necessarily filtered by expiration date. Gamma Edge is. So we're going to take a look at that real quick. So right here, I got Gamma Edge pulled up for 920, right, which is this coming week's expiration, and this is going into close. So take in mind that this can change, and I update this in my Discord, you know, every single day for the current week we're in. So if you're interested in that, premium members get access to that, plus a bunch of other tickers. Most of the main tickers that we trade, they have access to those as well, but they're just daily updates. And so if you want to get your, you know, live time updates, go ahead and check out that link. You know, give the 14-day trial a whirl, and if you like it, then you know, become a member and keep that Gamma Edge. But I found it really useful. So let's take a look here on close. Last week we had the 230 level as a very high gamma level, very high delta level. We had a lot of delta green, you know, and not much negative gamma last week. We traded the 230 puts quite a few times as we pushed to that level, and we really couldn't clearly hold above it. We did break above it a few times, pushing that like 232 strike, which and the 235s, which did have more last week as far as their gamma levels go. Right now they're pretty poor. You see 240 has a little bit strength, 250 has a little bit of strength if we do make that move up, right? But right now the 230 level is going to be act as resistance, right? The gamma curve will cause dealers who are long on this position as we worked up to 230. Once we cross over, the gamma curve has those dealers starting to close their positions as far as their shares go. And so as long as we don't see other strikes start to build high gamma levels, you know, then the dealers are not motivated to continue to buy shares as they need to hedge for these higher strikes. So 230 has been a really strong resistance level right now. We'll see if that holds. If we gap above, this can become support if you see these other strikes start to gain any meaningful gamma for the week, as dealers again are going to be buying shares to hedge long as we push closer and closer to that specific level, and then they will start closing their positions out. So that's why when we hit a level on a way up or a way down, we start to see, you know, price drop significantly, or at least see rejection or bounce depending on which direction we're going. So right now you can also see the gamma low, the negative gamma high is not very meaningful. It's 11,000, right, versus the 131 at the 230 level. But if we were to push down, we might find ourselves making a run at this 215 gamma level. It's the only one that really has any significance as far as negative gamma goes. You can also see we're pretty delta positive on these lower strikes. But we're not completely delta positive across the board, which is what we've been seeing lately when we see rug pulls. We see a lot of this delta flip positive for the strikes above. It gets very positive, and then all of a sudden rug pull happens. We have no, negative gamma. We have no negative delta, and then we end up having this massive drop. So we also see this this white box here, which is an area we might be likely to visit. But we really want to focus on these positive, negative and positive, or the highs for positive gamma and negative gamma. The expected move, 16 points going into next week. And so that could put us at a top of 246.75, could put us at a bottom of 213.91. Let's go ahead and look back on the chart real quick at where that 214 and 246 lie on like a daily time frame. So if we look at 246, right, 246 puts us closing these, basically closing that gap, right? Not expecting to push into 250, but as far as gamma edge goes, but closing that gap would be there, right? And 213 would be coming back to test this previous week low, basically. 213.50. So, that would be probably a false breakdown, of this trend line if we did test that and then potentially saw a pop from there. Last thing I'm going to look at is next week's gamma levels, just so you can see. A lot of times we'll see the push up, like we saw the 230 building on the previous week. Right? And so we saw that push up. Well, now next week, not this week, but next week, we got the 250s. So even if we see a drop down, there's a potential that we could make a run somewhere in the end of the week, this week, or into next week at this 250 level, if this continues to remain. Now, it's only 10,000 positive gamma right now. If we go back to this week, we got 130,000 positive gamma at the 230 level, right? So it's not nearly as significant, but as far as that whole week strike go, which is the end of the month strikes, 150 is the top, right? They're expecting a 25-point move, right? With the bottom being 205, the top being 255. So if we were to make those moves, again, 205 puts us down into this daily order block, right? To test support. 255 puts us into this bearish order block up above at buy side liquidity. So you can see our targets on our chart match what the gamma is expecting, whether it's to the buy side or sell side, basically going to say support or resistance on those ones, right? But also important to notice, we have very positive delta. So, definitely when we start to get all this positive delta, if it continues to build and maybe we flip this 285 level, right, then, there's a high probability that we might see a rug pull anywhere between this week and next week if we start to make any kind of push up, right? So just be aware of those things. And then I'll just for fun, I'll pop over to the week that we have the robo-taxi event. You can see we got a 250 gamma level there. Not very high gamma on that one as well. But for the October strikes, 250 seems to be a pretty good target. So if you manage to catch a low into the end of the month, whether that's this week or next week, you might consider looking at, something like out of the money 250 calls, right? Because it seems like there's a fair amount of gamma building for those October positions, right? And that'll take us into Tesla earnings. And so maybe we get the October rally sometime. So hopefully this has been helpful and insightful for you guys. I appreciate all the support. I know I said it was going to be a short one, but we started getting into the gamma edge information. Again, if you like that, links in the description below. Thank you for the support, and we'll see you guys on the next one.